November 1944. The battle cry of Rolls-Royce Merlin engines pierces through the sky as 16 P51 Mustangs cruise to their rendezvous point. They are headed to meet and escort B-17s to their objective in Germany. The target is an oil refinery supplying desperately needed fuel to the German war machine. Suddenly, a massive formation of 50 German Messerschmitt Bf-109s appears below them. The 109s are on course to intercept the B-17s and disrupt their bombing run. The outcome of World War II hangs in the balance. The Allies have the Germans on the run. But Hitler has other plans, all of which are dependent on the German military remaining supplied. Today, we look at the aerial battle on November 2, 1944, between P-51 Mustangs and Messerschmitt Bf-109s. One pilot became an ace in a day, while others did not fare so well. Do you think the P-51s, which were outnumbered 3-1, stood their ground and defended the vulnerable B-17s? Or were the Bf-109s able to deliver a lethal blow? Secure your oxygen masks and drop your external fuel tanks because we have bandits dead ahead. Enjoy this latest installment of Fierce, Fire, and Fury. The P-51 Mustang Squadron, known as the Blue Node's Bastards of Bodny, are going deep into enemy territory. While on course to meet and escort B-17s, the P-51s stumble upon a massive formation of Bf-109s below. Captain Donald Bryan positions his squadron behind the enemy formation and singles out an enemy fighter. As he swoops in undetected, Bryan opens fire with his P-51 650 caliber machine guns, knocking out the trailing Bf-109. The remaining 109s scatter and the fight is on. Planes from both sides are maneuvering in all directions, most of which belong to the Germans. Bryan quickly finds himself in a precarious situation. A 109 is directly behind him, poised to knock Bryan out of the fight early in the battle. But Bryan leans into his experience and reacts calmly, throwing his plane into a snap roll to evade the fast-moving 109. While Bryan narrowly avoids becoming a casualty in the aerial battle, his maneuver leaves him without a wingman. Undeterred, Bryan darts back into the ruckus, rejoins the dogfight, and finds a new target. He pulls behind the trailing plane of another squadron of 109s. His machine guns take aim at the 109 and he knocks it out of the fight with ease. Bryan has his second aerial victory of the day. But then, a shimmering 109 appears in Bryan's rear view mirror. Bryan tries to shake the 109 from his tail, but the Luftwaffe pilot won't let go. On paper, Bryan's P-51 should be able to outperform the Bf-109. The P-51 is faster, has a better turn rate, far greater range, and a higher operating ceiling. However, this 109 is putting Bryan to the test. The German closes in on Bryan, with Bryan almost in his cannon's sight, when Bryan pulls an amazing life-saving move to evade sure death. Bryan pulls the stick in as tight and as fast as he can, causing his P-51 to stall. Then he pushes the rudder down to drop the nose of the plane. The torque of the propeller on the Merlin engine violently twists the plane counterclockwise. Bryan slams the stick forward to negate the stall, and his plane freefalls for 5 seconds in nearly 2,000 feet until his P-51 picks up speed and is flying again. This 180 reversal maneuver is similar to an aerial circus trick performed by stunt pilots in air shows around the world. However, regardless of its own death-defying odds, the move helps Bryan escape the Bf-109 and carry on in the dogfight melee. Bryan collects himself and rejoins the aerial battle. He spots a friendly P-51 below him with a Bf-109 hot on his tail. Bryan rolls his P-51 over and chases the unsuspecting 109 through the clouds. A quick burst from his guns dispatches another 109 from the dogfight, and Bryan has a third aerial victory. Bryan joins his friend he just saved as his wingman. The pair of P-51s spot 2 Germans flying below them in the opposite direction. By now, Bryan only has ammunition remaining in 2 of his 6 guns. Nevertheless, Bryan and his wingman perform a split S maneuver and pull right behind the German duo. The trailing 109 is briefly in Brian's sight, and he sends it plummeting to the ground with a short burst. Brian lays the hammer down and closes in on the leading 109. Another short burst from Brian's P51 breaks off a wing of the BF-109, giving Brian his 5th victory of the day. With it, he becomes one of the few pilots designated as an ace in a day. For his efforts on November 2, 1944, Brian received the Distinguished Service Cross, with his citation reading, "His courage and outstanding aggressiveness in the presence of great danger were exemplary of the highest traditions of the Army Air Forces." Brian would not have been able to accomplish what he did on that harrowing day in 1944 had it not been for his unbelievable handling of his P51 Mustang. North American Aviation designed the P51 in April 1940 and presented the design at the request of the Royal Air Force. 102 days after the RAF signed a contract for multiple aircraft, North American test flew its first prototype. The aerodynamic ingenuity of the Mustang was spectacular. The cross-section of its wing was thicker in the middle and thin on the leading edge, which reduced drag and allowed for the smooth flow of air over the wing while flying at high speed. Once the P51D was outfitted with the 1,700 horsepower Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, the Mustang truly became a wild beast. It had a max speed of 440 miles per hour. 25% of its 12,000-pound maximum takeoff weight was fuel, giving the P51 a range of over 1,600 miles. The Mustang was one of the first aircraft outfitted with a self-lead computing gyroscopic gun sight called the K-14. The P51D model also had a bubble canopy that significantly enhanced pilot visibility, providing the aviator with nearly 360 degrees of sightline at an operational ceiling of 42,000 feet. The Mustang could also carry 2 500-pound bombs, or 10 rockets, underneath its wings. The P51 Mustang was an aviation marvel during World War II. It was a true testament of America's industrial strength, technical creativity, and sheer power. In the European theater, the P51 was the highest-scoring U.S. fighter, with nearly 5,000 victories over enemy aircraft. Today, the iconic silhouette and roar of the Merlin engine can be seen and heard at air shows all over the world. The P51 Mustang is truly a legend, admired by pilots and aviation enthusiasts alike. Do you have a cool story about the P51? Tell us about your experience with the Mustang in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more exhilarating content. Thank you very much for joining us for this video. See you next time on Fierce, Fire, and Fury.